Okay, good morning and welcome to Just Daf It. Daf Yevamos here. We're learning Yevamos Daf Sadi Beis, number 92. My good friend Shmuel has pointed out to me that the word sav in Hebrew also means a turtle, which is not really so relevant to Yevamos, but it is relevant to a conversation I had with Shmuel, where he felt my skin and he felt my forehead, and he's like, "Wow, you feel very warm." I touched his skin. He felt a little cold. He said, "You must be warm-blooded." I said, "Yeah, I'm a human being." I said, "So you're a cold-blooded. What does that make you?" And he tells me, "I'm a lizard." I said, "You're right, you're a lizard." Joking around with him. But I offered him to come on this year and talk about this experience, out-of-body experience of being a lizard. He refused to come on the show and talk about it, but he had other obligations apparently. But that's the difference between me and Shmuel. Shmuel's a lizard and I'm a human being. Joking around. Shmuel's a good guy. We love him. I wish he would come more on the shir. All right. So we're starting at the top. Today is a great shir. We're going to be talking about a number of different things. We have a new Mishnah today, and crux of the shir, the first daf is going to be the first Amud is going to be talking about bringing a korban. If you rely on beis din, you have to bring a korban or not. This fact is in relevance to when you ask a Rav Shaila, right? You ask a Rav Shaila, you rely on what he says. What does that make you if the Rav made a mistake? It happens. Rabbis make mistakes. Does that make you a shogeg or an onus? That we'll be discussing briefly in the Gemara, and we'll be discussing more fully in Ian with Ben Zion. You're not going to want to miss that. So let's get started. The two dots on the top of Samach Beis Amud Aleph, Sadi Beis Amud Aleph. Amar Zeiri Leisel Mastisin Meditani B'Midrash. The Mishnah says that if one aide comes and says your husband died and she remarries, right, there's a lot of penalties in the Mishnah. One of the milas of it is she doesn't have to bring a korban. If she gets married with two eidim, then she has to bring a korban. When she gets married with one aid, then she doesn't have to bring a korban. Apparently, she's considered to be totally Bahora's beis din. The beis din gave a horah. The Mishnah, the first Mishnah, Horios, records a machlokas about this, but it seems like the Mishnah is assuming like the Yachid opinion, that a Yachid, that it was told that Bahora's beis din, they asked beis din what to do. Beis din is normally three people, three scholars, three big people, important people, and they told her an action, they gave a horah, so you're potter from bringing a korban chatas, because basically that idea is as an onus. It's nothing you could have done about it. So the Gemara says, Ziri says our Mishnah is natural. In the base measure, they taught Tani b'Midrash, Horu beis din shaka cham l'sov zarcha on Shabbos. They paskin. They asked him, it's dark outside. They said no. They said Shabbos is over. They said the sun set. L'sov zarcha, and then what happens? Zrichas hashemesh. Usually, shkias acham is end of Shabbos over here, not Seisur Chavim. But anyway. And then Zarcha, and then the sun came out again, and they did malacha in the interim. Einzu hara tos. It's a mistake by the beis din. You can't say it's hara the beis din. They got the facts wrong, and therefore you have to bring a korban chata. So you made a mistake. Rav Nachman Amar hara here. Rav Nachman argues on Zeiri, and he says no. In our Mishnah it is hara. Amar Rav Nachman Teda Darag. I didn't know. B'chol Torah Kula Eirach Lo Mehemen. Eirach is not normally believed in the Old Torah, except by Shua, for example, the Mechayiv Yeshua, but normally Eirach is not Neman. Here by Eidas Isha is Neman. V'hacha Mehemen, my time, Malamishum Dorai. Obviously the Eirach is not Neman on his own account. He's Neman because the beis din relied on him, and they gave up Psak the beis din. So you're relying on the beis din. So it's Hayrahi, and therefore you're part from a korban. I'm a Rav Teda, the toe is the Rav argues on Rav Nachman. So like Ziri, how do you know it's a mistake? They gave up psak. They said, no, this is not chelev and dam. It's not real blood. It's imitation blood. It's just water with red dye in it. And they said you could eat it. And then they said, no, it really is a regular blood. It is real chelev. Then they go back and change their mind a second time and say, no, it's really mutter. It's really water with red dye. We don't believe them. They can't reverse what they said. one aid comes, they allow you to remarry. Asu Trey, two come and say, no, the husband's still alive. Asrana, then we ask you to get married. We can reverse, basically, can flip flop on. In my time, allow Mishum the Toasu. Sounds like they don't have the koach to make a hora here. We're going to talk about the strength of a hora. A hora, is that considered a birur, or is that considered to be just a hachra of a suffix? And we'll talk more about Iyun ben Sion, but it seems the Gemara is saying that it's a toas here. It's not. It's definitely not a birur, and it's hachra mitorah suffix. And they made a mistake. So the Gemara says, after Blazer Savar Tosu, Blazer also holds a toe. Tanya Blazer Omer Yiko Adina Sahar. Says the judgment should bore a hole through a mountain. Not like our Mishnah. Even if she relied on the base and they gave a psak after the came, said your husband died, she has to bring karma chata, so her husband comes back. Yeah, with Shlama, the Tosu. You'll say basically made a mistake. That's what you're doing carbon. Eliamris Harahi, my master carbon. Right? If it's Hora, the Mishnah says in Hori, his first Mishnah, he's bought from a carbon. Dilma, Kasav Rezer, Yachash Asavar based in Chayiv. Maybe Rezer really holds. Like the other, like the Chachamim in the Mishnah Horios, that even a Yachish Asavar based, and even if it's a real Hora, they're Chayiv a carbon. Doesn't pater you. So the Gemara says, Imke Ma'iko Adina Sahar. He's saying Sachidish, he's saying the judgment should bore a hole through the mountain. Obviously, he's saying, even though the majority opinions like the Chachamim, right? Still, this is a chiddush that I'm saying over here that we follow. It's a chiddush that even the accepted opinion that we follow that normally hora is based in his potter. Here you're chayiv because it's a toast. So therefore, even though it's coming to tell you something, a big chiddush over here, boring through the hole, even though the accepted opinion is your potter, here you're going to be chayiv because it's considered a toast. It's not considered a valid hora over here. Hora based on hinase. The Mishnah continues, and it says the Beis Din allowed her to remarry. And instead of getting remarried, she was makalkala. We're going to define what makalkala means in a second. She obviously did not get married legitimately. She's chayiv. And then her husband came back, so she's chayiv for that. We don't say that she's parted from a carbon. Rezer Omer is zinsa. Rezer says it means that instead of getting married, she was mizana. She just had fun with somebody. No, she got married. She doesn't get married to Isser. She got married. She was a Kohen Gadol. She was an Almana. She got married to a Kohen Gadol. She was a Grusha. Got married to a Chalutz. She married to a Kohen Hedyot. That's why she did. That's a real kilkos. That's her lot. Madamar Zinsa. Zinsa is Nus Ba'alma. Panoi Baal Pnuya is Nus Ba'alma. It's only after Rabbanon. Kosh again, Almana Kohen Gadol. Certainly, Almana Kohen Gadol would be a kilkola. Madamar Almana Kohen Gadol was Zinsa low. Zinsa. She would not be held responsible for my time. You made me a pnuya, and you told me to get remarried, right? So if I got remarried, I got married to Isser, that makes sense. But you told me I'm free now. I'm free, so I just did znus. I did promiscuity. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't get married to Isser. You allowed me to marry. Didn't talk about znus at all. So why should I be responsible? Tanya Kavasi, Rabbi Yochanan, opinion, the Brisa records an opinion like Rabbi Yochanan. Only Amal Khan Gadol, if you do an Isser, and he's doing the Isser. Haru basically Nasi, Hachav Kilkala Kigon, or say example, Amal Khan Gadol, Grusha Chutzak, Hedyot, Chayav Zakar, then she's Chayav Karban. I'll call Bia, the Ezra that says any Bia she's with, she's an Almana, she married the Khan Gadol. Every time they're together. She's Chayav another Karban Kata. That's the Bios Mechalkos according to Ezra. Kamor Karban Echad, I'll call, she marries the Khan Gadol, as many Bios as they have. It doesn't make a difference. Bring one carbon chatas. Modu chamul lezer. The chum admit lezer. Shem nisis lachamishes b'nei adam. She marries 5 people. Shechayves b'korban al kol achad ve'achad. Even they agree because whole of a guvin muchlak and they're different people. So she got married to one Kohen, and then she got divorced. She got married to another Kohen. She keeps doing five different marriages. She brings a korban on every one because that's called kilkala. They gave her a heter to remarry, not to go makalka, do a nisuin be'isser. All right, the Mishnah says, Ha'isha shahalach baila. Ha'isha shahalach baila b'na l'medinas hayam. A woman and her son, they go to the Caribbean. They go to St. Bart's, St. Bartholomew, French islands. Medina Sayam. Ubo v'amru meis ba'alech v'achach nizipnech. The Edom comes and says, or the Edechad comes and says, first your husband died, and then your son died, right? So if that's true, she's patur from Yibum, right? Because when her husband died, he had a child. When he says, then she got remarried. She got married to somebody else, not the Yavam. No, really, first your son died, and then your husband died, in which case she's chayav in Yibum. They'd say, so now she was a Yevamos Shuk, she did the wrong thing. Vlad, Rishon, Achron, Mamzer, the Vlad, whether she had a child, right, after they told her originally that your husband died and the child died, so whether she had a child before the truthful evidence comes, or she even had a child after the truthful evidence comes, the child of Mamzer, Amrullah, he said to her, first your son died, and then your husband died. You're chayav in Yibum. She did Yibum like she's supposed to do. So no, it was the opposite. First, right, your husband died, then your son died. There's no Yibum, right? So now she did Eishes Ach, right, which is Kare. Whether she, right, had a child before the truthful news comes, or afterwards, the child of Mamzer, Eishes Ach. Amrullah Meis Bailech. Another case, they told you their husband died in the Caribbean, Venices, and then she got remarried. Then the Edom come and say, no, he's really alive. Well, Mace, he was alive when the first Edom said he was dead, but now he lived. Then he died a couple days later. Right. So the child born before the truthful news comes. Obviously a mom's there because the husband's still alive. She couldn't marry somebody else. The Akron, after the truthful news comes in, he's actually dead. We believe the second witnesses, the second kat of Edom, second group of Edom. So the second man, so being together with that man afterwards is not mamzera. She's allowed to marry him. Amrullah meis ba'alech v'niskadsha. Her husband died in Medina Sayam niskadsha, and she got engaged. She didn't get married. And then her husband came back. So she can go back to her husband. Get. And even if the second one gave her a get, which she doesn't have to do, it doesn't pass. A woman who's divorced from her husband, she can't go and marry a Kohen. But not from a man, it has to be her husband. A man who's not her husband, right? Because technically she was already married to the first guy. When her kedushin was ineffective to the second guy, she can't be mekudesh to two people. So therefore, it's not her husband, and therefore it's not, even if they ever get it, it's just throwing a piece of paper at her, it's invalid, it doesn't make her a grusha. Gemara says, my rishon, my achron. What does it mean first and second, and at the end? Ile marishon lifnei shmo v'achron la'achar shmo. Rishon means before she heard the truthful news, and afterwards she heard, achron is after she heard the truthful news. Listening how Vlad Mamzer. It's just, why does it to say rishon achron? In both cases, the halakha is the same. Because we had a case in the Seifa of our Mishnah which wasn't that way. First Adam said he dead, and then the two Adam come and say no, he wasn't dead, but now he's dead. And then he died. Right? After the truthful evidence comes out, he's actually dead. So if she has a child after that, the child's not a mamzer. So there's a difference in Rishon and Achron. In the Reisha or Mishnah, which talks about a case where she really was in the contract of Yibum Chalitza, and they told her the wrong evidence that really she's patur in Yibum Chalitza. They said basically first your husband died and then the son died, in which case when their husband died they had a child, so therefore she patur in Chalitza and Yibum, and she goes to marry somebody else, and they reversed it and they say no, the first the son died and the husband died, in which case you were in the contract of Yevamos, you go to Shuk, which is only a lav. Zudi Rabbi Akiva. Our Mishnah follows Rabbi Akiva, and we say the fly is a mamzer. In kedushin tosim mechayv lavin. Kedushin is usually what determines whether the child's a mamzer. So he holds no kedushin mechayv lavin, which is Yevama. Al chama omrim a mamzer miyevama. They would argue on the Mishnah, and they would say that there's no mamzer from Yevama l'shuk being married to the shuk. It's just a lav. So it wouldn't create a mamzer. Rishon the achron would be a mamzer. V'lema in mamzer mechayv lavin. Why does he have to say miyavama? Just say in mamzer mechayv lavin, more inclusive. Hi Tana hach Tana de Rabbi Akiva, who this Tana actually subscribes to Rabbi Akiva. This brayso who damar mechayv lavin the share of mamzer mechayv lavin grady lavin mamzer. Right? There's two opinions in Rabbi Kiva's Shita. This Tana is taking a side in that, and he's saying Rabbi Kiva only said that you create a mamzer from Isurei Lavim that are incest, meaning are familial violations. But Yevamos Shaka not a familial violation. She goes and marries somebody else who's not related. So that's not a familial violation. Therefore, does not create a mamzer. In Mamzer Yevama, but it would agree to Rabbi Akiva that if it was you married your father's wife, someone your father raped or someone your father had pitoy with or something like that, or you marry a chalutza, things which are share chayve lav, and then he would agree to Rabbi Akiva that would create a mamzer. Amar Rav Yehuda, top of Sadi Beis Amud Beis. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav. This is the name of Rav. How do you know Kiddushin don't take effect with the Yevama? Shenemar lo siya eish samesh achutza leish zar. Now, seemingly, Rav is saying this according to everybody, even according to Rikiva. Sit down, Shmuel. Come. I started my shir.
I have to go.
We were talking about your comments before, how you said that you're cold-blooded and I'm hot-blooded, and I'm a human being, and you said you're a lizard. You want to comment on that?
About what? About that you being a human being? Which one is the? Oh, that I'm a lizard.
I don't know which one. I mean, being a human being is not such a chiddush. You being a lizard is more of a chiddush.
That is true. It is a little bit of a. It's a shocking thing.
What type of lizard would you be? You'd be one of those lizards that go in the water also, like an amphibious lizard, or are you just one of the dry lizards?
I really don't think so.
Are you able to crawl up trees? Yeah, and crawl up walls like lizards?
I don't know if I can, but I sure.
You're like Spider-Man.
Sometimes my wife says that I make
If you could be Superman, Batman, or Spider-Man, which one would you be? Which one would you be? Yeah, which one would you choose?
Oh, that's always a big shaila. I mean, it's a big machlekes. Like, what's better?
I'm asking your opinion.
My opinion?
Yeah, you know about these people.
Yeah,
Which one would you be? You could choose anyone.
I'd like to be father man. Right?
That wasn't one of the options. You are a father. You're already a father, man.
That's true.
Being a father is superhuman sometimes.
That is right.
That's true. So you're going to picking Superman?
Superman or Superman? That was David Lichtenstein. He had a question. Are the Gedolim Supermen or are they just supermen? You understand? Or are they supermen? But anyway, seriously, I don't know. I mean, Superman has...
Wait, let's get back to that for a second. That was interesting. He had a question whether Gedolim are considered...
question, are they infallible? I mean, can we say they made mistakes? Or, like, are they like Superman?
Are they like Superman, right?
Or
from
Superman.
DC Comics? Yeah.
Or Supermen, like they operate the men, but they're like super. They're not like some...
And they're for what? They can make mistakes.
So they had a whole show.
It's amazing that you're saying this because it relates to Iyun Ben Sion today. I'm going to talk about Iyun Ben Sion. I'm going to talk about, you ask a Rav a Shaila, right? And he probably gives a psak to you, right?
Right.
Turns out you made a mistake or something like that. You got something wrong. Are you responsible for it? This really exactly relates to that, and that would be part of the Shaila. Do we say that a Rav gives a psak halacha? That's like shtei edim. It's like a mirror. Right, shtei edim, right, say something. So, my havala neve, what could you have done, right?
That's right.
You're sort of like an onus,
That's
but
right.
But if a Rav is more just like, it's still a suffix, he's just machriya. In his expert opinion, he's machriya the suffix, meaning he gives you a way, a hora, he shows you the way, right? Someone asks you directions, right? You don't always know the directions, but you know probably the directions better. Someone goes in Telstone, they ask you where is the Masmidim or something like that, right? You don't know maybe exactly where it is. Not everyone knows where's the Beis Yaakov. Maybe you do know this, but if someone would ask me and I don't know, and I would say I have probable idea where it is, he has no idea. He's not from Telstone. I would tell him, you go in this direction, and I wouldn't say, oh, it seems to me like this. You can tell him. You give him hora, you're mora derech. You guide the person because you know what your hachra, your decision is better than his decision. So that's what he's asking for. He's not asking for definitive. He's asking for help, and when you get help, so this really plays into this question. Meaning, is the rabbi giving you a birur? Is he giving you something which is deemed truthful? Or is he just giving you, it's still called a suffix, we're not sure. He's just giving you a way of resolving your suffix. In which case, if he gets it wrong, maybe you're a shogig, and the shogeg is not completely not liable. They have to bring korban chatas in a lot of cases, right? You made a mistake with Shabbos, or if a malacha is asura on Shabbos, and you do make a mistake, so you're chayav to bring a korban chatas. How do you weigh on this, Shaila? So this really is Shmuel Shaila. Are they supermen, like Superman? They're infallible. What they're telling you is a mirror. It's telling you the truth. Or can they make mistakes? Can they make mistakes?
So Ayin David Lichtenstein headlines. You know what that is?
I've heard about this show. Yeah,
No,
this is what he talks about.
no, in the book he has a book on.
Anyway, back to you, Shmuel.
About
Want to
my
find?
reptiles. Do you know?
All right, I have to clean this year, but
you know they can climb on walls. You know how they do that? It's amazing. You know how they do that?
they defy gravity.
No. People think it's sticky. It's not sticky. They have a lot of like little like hooks in their very microscopic little hooks, and they could catch little tiny things in the wall to hold on to it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Not suction.
Is
It's not
that
suction
scientifically proven?
Yes, it's not suction cups. That's what we think. It's not suction cups. They have like little things. They have like a lot of little tiny like little hooks or something. Millions and millions of microscopic, and they find little like little cracks in the wall, and that they could hold on to it. Little tiny cracks.
So technically, if the wall was completely flat, they wouldn't be able to crack.
Right. But
I don't know about that. Listen, I personally, I've seen them climb up glass. I don't know. I've seen them climb glass. It's pretty
glass is
smooth.
also porous.
Anyway, I have a different shot. Not everything in this world is subject to gravity.
You know, there's a lizard outside in the shul all the time. He sits on the wall.
All right, listen, this is getting way off course over here. We have to find out whether you're Superman or would you rather be Superman,
you
Batman.
The lizard, he sits out all day.
You want to be Superman or Batman? I have to go on.
I think he like gobbles up flies. That's what.
Shmuel, do you want to be Superman, Batman, or Spider-Man?
I'd like
Just
to
answer
be,
the question.
I'd like to try each one, but I'd like to try each one, but as on the whole, I don't know. It's very.
I'd rather be Batman because Batman's cool. All right.
But you're already cool.
I know. That's
You're
why.
cooler than Batman.
It's possible. I might be Batman also. So.
What happened? You went after Batman and
I'm
Robin.
the Dark Knight of Gotham. What?
That's ridiculous. I don't think you should say that.
All right. Why?
It's
What's
all
wrong?
Avodah Zarah. It's Avodah
Avodah
Zarah.
Zarah.
Yes, all these things. Blinking,
I am
all
the
these-
Batman. All right, let's go on. And that's why I hit home
He's
runs.
not called Batman. He's called Atalef Adam in Hebrew. Let's talk straight. It's really cool.
No, Batman for like baseball with the bats. That's why I always swing. I always get a home run, right?
You're the best.
I'm the best. I have the home run record.
You're the best. You're the
All right.
Langman.
Fine, man. All right, we got to go on. You can stay if you want. So
going
Rav
now.
says, Minai, you can leave. Shank, bye. Thanks for joining us, Shmuel.
Thank you. You're the best, Benzion. We love you. We love Benzion.
Thank you so much. There are a lot of people that like me. There are people that are afraid of me and don't like me because they're afraid of me. Not because they don't like me, they're just afraid of me. So they deem it they don't like me. But I think everyone really likes me. They're just afraid of me. They're scared that I'm going to make them look bad. All right.
What are you going to do? Throw a pie at them? What are you going to do?
People are scared of me. It's a
not
fact.
gonna-
All right, let's go on. Rav Minayin Kedushin Tosin Yevamos. Rav says, how do you know Kedushin? Don't stick with the Yevamos. It doesn't take effect. Shenemar, and according to Rav, it would produce a mamzer, the child, even not according to Rekiva. Shenemar lo siya ish lemeis achutza liish zar lo seheba havaya. Ti as a lashon havaya. It's ineffective. The Kedushin is ineffective. Shmuel Amar Bani Yosenu Sricha Get. We're not sure. Masafka the Shmuel the Gemara says, "Hi, lo siya ish lemeis ila lav." Does it mean it's a lav that she shouldn't marry him, which would be like Rabbi Akiva, because he could create a mamzer. Also, the lo tasvar Kedushin. Udasar, the Chiddush, even though normally Chayvei Lav and Tfisas Kedushin does apply, but by Yevamos, a special pasuk, see, that it doesn't apply. Lo see, it doesn't take effect, and therefore it create a mamzer, even not according to Rabbi Akiva. Amalei Rav Mari Barach, Rav Ashi Achim Ramim Halacha Halacha Kavasi to Shmuel. Therefore, it would create a suffix mamzer, possibly Yevamos Lashuk. Amar Rav Ashi Hashtu the Amar Ramim Halacha Kavasi to Shmuel. Im Hayy Yevamos Choin Cholis Lavasharilei. Once we know the halachas like Shmuel, so the Yevama was in a structure of Yibum to a Kohen. She married out of it, right? So you need a get, right? So the Kohen should do what? Now, if she gets a get from this man who's the Chut the Zar, so therefore she can't marry the Kohen who's the Yavam. So therefore, she does to marry at least one of them. She gets chalitza from the Kohen, and she marries the Yisrael, who's the Yivam L'Shuk. The Gemara says Iskura, she's rewarded for doing an Iskar. According to Shmuel, it's Asar for doing Yevamos Lashuk. Im came out Chote and Iskar. It's going to end up being. We're going to learn from this. Someone who doesn't have Veira gets rewarded. Ella, what does he mean to say? Mhaya Yevamo Yisrael. Right, if the Yavam was Yisrael, no sin la sheni get the man she married. You have to give a get according to Shmuel. With the suffix whether she's married to him, and she becomes married to the Yavam. Amar Rav Gidam Rav Chia Bar Yosef Amar Rav Yevamo Kedushin Ein Ba Nisun Yesh Ba. Yevama, right? If another man is Makadish her, like Shmuel, or even according to Rav, there's for sure not to use Kedushin. According to Shmuel, it's suffix not Kedushin. And even according to Shmuel, if there is Kedushin, you have to give her a get. Ein Ba Nisun Yesh Nisun Yesh Ba. But you could technically be married to her. So the Gemara asks right away, Kedushin Ein Ba Nisun Nami Ein Ba. It's obvious. Nisun is predicated on Kedushin. It's the next step after Kedushin. If there's no Kedushin, you can't go to the next step of Nisun. So Gemara says, Ein Ba Kedushin Nisun Ein Ba. You meant to say there's no Kedushin or Nisun. Levi is saying, my Nisun. What does he mean by Nisun Yesh Ba? Kiznus, Biznus, Kedar Rav Hamnuna, Damar Hamnuna, Shemeres Yavam Zinsa, Asura Liyavama. Shemeres Yavam, she's waiting for the Yavam, and she commits Znus. She doesn't marry somebody else. She Mazanik, she went adultery, so to speak, with somebody else. We treat it as adultery, like she's married to the Yavam, and she's Asura Labal Laboa, and she's married to the Yavam also. Iba Yisayim Olam Kedamrami, Kara Kedushin Ein Ba Nisun Yesh Ba. She has Nisun. The Michlafa Isha Shahalach Ba'al Nisun doesn't mean she really has Nisun. It just means she needs a get from Nisuin, because if she does Nisuin with the Yevamos Lashuk, because she'll be confused to the case we've been talking about in our Mishnah, where a woman, her husband goes overseas and the aide comes and says he's dead, and then she marries somebody else and then he comes back alive, that she needs a get, like we said, it's a chumrah, it's a knas, she needs a get from the second husband, because we think that she's legally married to the second husband. Same thing over here, we think that she's legally married to the Yevamos, to the Tsar, the person she got married to, so therefore needs to get. If Kedushin, we said in this Kadsha, it wasn't an Avera, so you don't have to worry about what people think. Amar Rabbi Yanai v'chavura ninim regamru ein Kedushin tostin b'Yevama. They made a halacha there. The Kedushin is not tostin b'Yevama. Amar Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Lo Mishasenu Yizu. Is it not a Mishnah? It's not Omer Elisha or Rabbi Mekudesh. Like Lachar Shas Gairi, Lachar Shas Gairi is a famous Mishnah Kedushin. Say to a woman, right? She's not Jewish. You're Mekudesh to me after I convert to Judaism. Lachar Shas Gairi. After you convert, I'm Jewish. I want you to convert. Lachar Shas Tachrer. An Evid says, after I become freed, I'll get married to the Bas Yisrael. Lachar Shas Gairi. Or Yisrael says to a Shivcha Knainis, says, after you're freed, I'll marry you. Lachar Shimas Balech. And he gives the Kedushin now, and he makes a Tanai that it'll take effect when it ends. Lachar Shimas Balech. Or a man says to another woman, he wants to marry her. He says, when your husband dies, I'll be married to you. You want to marry your wife's sister after your wife died. I'll marry you, the sister. Or he says to the Yavam, who is supposed to be waiting for the Yavam, after he does Chalitza, I'll marry you. Ain't Mekudeshes. If you does Kedushin, I'll tonight, that should work later on. It's not Mekudeshes. Because it's Davar Shalaya Ba'olam, it's not in the world. The existence of that marriage is not possible on it now. So I'm relay. So you see from this Mishnah what? The last case, right? All these cases is Davar Shalaya Ba'olam, that it couldn't take effect. And obviously it couldn't take effect because he can't marry the Yevama now. He has to wait for the Chalitza. Yevama L'Shuk doesn't take effect. I'm relay. Lav the Dali Lachaspa Mishkachas Maganiyot. Okay. You're right. It's only because I told you if I didn't bring up the shard from the bottom of the ocean, right? If you bring up pearls are normally found in little shells in the ocean. So I didn't bring up the shell from the ocean. You wouldn't have found the pearl inside. If you ever read John Steinbeck and the Pearl, it's a very sad story, but it talks about a pearl. And the Gemara references a pearl over here. If you want to get the pearl, you have to get that shell and procure it from the shell. You have to open up the shell and take it out. So he says basically, Rabbi Yochanan said, is not our Mishnah. He says, if I didn't tell you this teaching, Kedushin Tosin, you would not have the proper explanation of this Mishnah in Kedushin, so therefore I helped you out. I took out the shell and you uncovered the pearl from this Mishnah. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. Stick around for Yom Ben Sion. We'll discuss what I discussed with Shmuel. Rabbi, ask a shot at a rabbi, I made a mistake. Are you at fault or not? Or is he at fault? See you there, bye.